Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 111 for Tuesday, the 22nd of February 2022. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby, 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
Big Macca, 83, Twitch streamer, gamertag, Big Macca 83.
And Sensei Switch, still here from last week.
Hey, no Nick this week. He's asleep apparently, so it's just us three, which is fine. We're going to try not to have a super long one this week. I've managed to avoid COVID for 2 years, and I got struck down with it this week. And I've not been great, to be fair. And literally just before the podcast recording, I was asleep. So I literally woke up about 20 minutes ago. So I'm not really with it, and so I'm not going to try not to talk too much. But I've not been like super mega bad like some people have been. It's just been like a bit of a chest infection and it's made me very tired. So. Which has meant, though, lots of gaming, which I'll be talking about in a bit. So that's all good. We've got Macca back this week after his 2-week holiday from the show. So it's nice to have you back, Macca.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for having me back. Yeah, it's a little break. Needed a little break, so yeah. Back refreshed and ready to go.
Back and refreshed. So since you're back and refreshed, why don't you regale us with the games you've been playing?
Well, it's gonna put a smile on your face, I know. But I went and bought Far Cry 6.
Ooh, what system?
PS5.
Okay.
I am a massive Far Cry fan. I absolutely love Far Cry 4. That's particularly always been my favourite.
Okay.
And I love the whole sort of the setting of 4, and I was a bit dubious of 5. A bit dubious of 6, because I wasn't a massive fan of 5. I ain't gonna lie, 5 wasn't particularly. And New Dawn, the expansion off of that, the standalone game, kind of like Primal, I didn't enjoy that at all either. But I still bought them and played them because it's a Far Cry game, and I'm actually, so far what I've played of it, I'm actually really enjoying it. I think it's got the sort of the core elements that make Far Cry a Far Cry game. Yeah. But just adding some little extras in there just makes it, the whole being able to like build your guns, like build attachments and things. And I think that just adds an extra element to it that I'm enjoying so far. And I even love the fact is like I've got the bog standard suppressor on my rifle right now, and if you overheat it and use it too much, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's made out of like a Evian bottle and a bit of wiring and stuff. It's a cracking game, and the graphics on the PlayStation 5 are immense. They are really. It's a really pretty game. I'm enjoying it. I am really enjoying it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
After playing 5 and New Dawn, I was kind of really let down. As a Far Cry fan, I was really let down on the series, because you had 3 and 4, which were great. I loved Primal, because I loved that. The whole caveman thing was great. And then you had 5 and New Dawn, and I thought, and then there was all the mixed reviews about 6, that it wasn't great, and everyone's a bit pissed off with it, and no, they don't. I love it. I think it's great so far. Must admit though, looking on the crocodile is bloody annoying. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so when I played through it, I had the big cat with me the whole time, which was a really good pet to have because it could be quite sneaky as well. I absolutely loved Far Cry 6, and it's a game that I was raving about a good few months back when I was playing it. I thought it was quite refreshing because it kept that Far Cry formula, which we all love. But the new location was what I think is absolutely fantastic. It's very beautiful, with the tropical beaches and the music and the towns and just the whole story as well. I think everything in this game just comes together in one nice, neat package. To be fair, and it is a game that I enjoyed immensely, and is a game that I do highly recommend to people. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's sort of gripped me already. The problem I've got is I went out on a little bit of a spree. I bought Far Cry 6, I bought King of Fighters 15, and I bought Metro Exodus because it was I paid like a tenner for Metro Exodus brand new, and I was like, yeah. The problem is I don't think I'm going to get around to playing King of Fighters 15 in the next few weeks because I'm literally like, once this podcast is finished, I'm jumping back on Far Cry 6 because
fair enough. Yeah, it does get its hooks into that game, 100%.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Other games I played a bit of Madden 22, no 21, no 22, because it's come out on Games Pass. Is it 22 or 21? It's 22, isn't it? Yeah,
because we just had the Super Bowl, so I'm guessing you're bang into it now, right?
Yeah, well, no, because I've always liked American football. I'm a massive fan of American football. I watch it like as much as I can. Like before I got Sky Sports, I used to watch it as much as I can. Now I can watch it every week. Been a massive fan since 1990. I've played a lot of Madden games, but because I'm not too bothered about like the game itself, like if that makes sense. Like when I was a kid, I used to want to play the most up to date FIFA game because I'm with Madden, I don't mind playing the year before. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
Because not a lot of changes in American football. The kits don't change. Sometimes the teams change. There's a big trade or there's a big free agency or something. But generally, nothing really changes. I mean, like Aaron Rodgers, you're playing a Green Bay thing. Aaron Rodgers has been quarterback for like 15 years. So he's always been a quarterback. So with FIFA, it's not like there's constant transfers and there's things like that. So to be honest, playing the year before game, which is always at a lower price because EA seem to always want to charge 70, 80 quid for the Madden games. I've always, but I've never really bothered playing the up-to-date one. But as it's come out on Games Pass now, I thought, I'll give it a whirl. And I've been playing it on and off for a little bit over the last week since it's been on there. Awesome. Had a few games on it. It's all right. What can I say? It's a Madden game.
Yeah.
It plays exactly like last year and the year before that. There's not really much to it, but I'm enjoying it. It's something that I'm glad it's on Games Pass and I've downloaded it to the console that I can literally just, if I'm waiting for a game to install or I can't be bothered to play the PlayStation, I just want to throw a game on quickly. It's there, ready to go. That's what I like about it. So,
that's awesome.
Played a bit of that. Been playing a bit of Resident Evil 2, modded version though on the PC that I've got called Kendo Cuts.
Okay.
I've been streaming it actually, so it's a bit of a fan made mod of the game, but it's just like a massive comical scenario of the second one. It's quite funny actually. There's a lot in it that just makes you giggle really.
The Thomas the Tank Engine as Mr. X or whatever, is it?
No, it's all about the Kendo, the gun shop owner, and basically, he actually chases Mr. X. He actually chases Mr. X, and he turns up, and that he normally dies in this bit, but he survives, and that's how the story progresses, and he just appears in places, and it's quite a comical mod actually. It certainly made me chuckle a lot, so I have been playing that.
Awesome. That's pretty cool that someone's done that. Yeah, that's awesome.
And what other game? Can't think what other games now. That's it, really. Yeah. Kendo Cuts, Far Cry 6, and Madden.
Wow, you've ripped through them in under 10 minutes. Bloody hell, that's
probably the fastest we've gone through someone's playlist.
To be fair, if it was only games that I've played off stream, it would literally be the two. I've put Resident Evil in there because I've just not had the time for the last couple of weeks. Because when I've been getting home from work, I've just kind of I've either just sat there and watched Twitch, or I've just kind of just chilled out or gone to bed early. To be honest, it's
fair enough, mate. Sometimes that's needed, right? So
so I haven't really got. I mean, like I say, I've got Metro Exodus to play on the PS5. I've actually got SNK Heroines to play, Tag Team Frenzy, which is an SNK fighting game, but with just the women from the series. I got the special edition on eBay for about 30 quid.
Essentially not.
You know,
it's one of the games I took a bit of umbrage with because...
What's it called? SNK what?
SNK Heroines.
Tag Team Frenzy.
Okay. Sorry, Darren.
It was the one I had that moan about back in the day, because obviously like the SNK games have got like a plethora of like really good female characters to draw from.
Yeah.
And then they gender swapped a load of men into women to put in the game. So there's like a female version of Terry Bogard, and I'm like, what is this weirdo shit?
Yeah.
And
well,
then
the thing is,
they put in also as DLC characters that aren't even from SNK titles, and I'm like, so everything that is in the title of your game has got nothing to do with your game. Like it was a simple idea, and you couldn't even pull that off.
The thing is, I'm a massive fan of fighting games, as what's been told already, and what I want to do is collect all of them on the PS4. So this is one of the ones that I was missing. It was 50.
Quite limited.
It was 50 quid on the store, on the PlayStation store, and I went, I'm not paying that, and I found it on eBay for like 35 quid. So I've gone, do you know what? I'll pay 35 quid for that.
Yeah, this is physical.
You know,
right? So.
Yeah, well, it's the special super edition thing that came with a load of free stuff that, to be honest, I gave to my little girl, so it don't matter now. But I wasn't paying 50 quid for it, but I wanted it in my collection, so that's kind of what I went for, because I've got more. I've got like Skullgirls, I've got all of the mainstream ones, I've got all the Sam shows, and there's just two that I don't have on disc at the moment. I've got on the hard drive, and I don't think I ever will. Is Ultimate versus Marvel versus Capcom 3, and that's because that goes on a limited run, and they're about 80 or 90 quid on disc. And I think there was an Ultra Street Fighter 4 one, which they released on disc, but yeah, again, that's about 60 quid on disc, and I'm not paying that for disc, so I've got them on the console. So yeah, so that's why I got that, and then obviously I got King of Fighters 15 to play.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't played that yet, even just to check it out.
Well, to be honest, I went to install it and it came up. I didn't have any memory on my PS5.
Oh,
it's a large game.
Yeah, 160 gig.
What?
160 gig on the PlayStation 5.
Wow! On the PS5, it's like I think 68.
Yeah, but there was an update on mine. So there was it was 68, and then it went up to 98. Then there was a 98 update on it, 98 gig update. I only installed it yesterday.
Well, I've installed it on my PC, and it is 30. Oh, it's like 32 gig on the PC.
Have a little look. I'll turn my PlayStation on and have a look.
Yeah, there was a few people that basically were speculating, saying that they think some of the extra space is there for, like, reserved for the future DLC.
Probably.
That's a big difference between the PC version and the console version on the old storage, though.
That's because they like to screw people with PlayStation 5s, because we know we haven't got enough storage as it is.
Well, PlayStation 5 generally has the smallest install sizes on all the systems because of the way that they can compact the games down on the HDD or whatever it is, or SSD. Sorry.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my week. That's it.
Fair enough, Macca. That was super duper quick. So, what about you, Darren?
Well, I might as well start with King of Fighters 15.
King of Fighters 25?
Talking about it. Yeah, no, I'll get confused with these stupid Roman numerals. I prefer it when they just used to be called like 94, 95, 96, 97, etc.
You don't prefer when they call it Super Street Fighter 2 XL Super Edition Turbo Cross Platform Super Booper Edition? Yeah, you don't prefer it when they give it a big long-winded title, no?
There's so many games now that use like Roman numerals for the numbers, it kind of does get a bit confusing at times. Like when I see people chatting about King of Fighters 15 and I thought it was 14 or something, and oh well. But yeah, I've been playing that this week. It's bloody fantastic from what I've played of it. Super smooth, looks great. I would say it's, from what I've played, it's definitely a better package than Street Fighter 4 or 5 was, or whatever it was when that came out, which was completely and utterly bare bones. It does lean quite a bit to the online aspect of it, because I think they've got like rollback netcode or something and a few other bits and bobs that they tweaked with it. The new characters are all pretty fun to play. They've still kept the actual characters' move sets, as far as I can tell. Because with the Street Fighter games, they seem like really adverse at Capcom in giving anyone more than like 3 or 4 special moves.
Right.
And in the King of Fighters games, you usually get like 5, 6 maybe sometimes, plus like a couple of specials and an ultimate. And there used to be like extended versions of those specials as well. I think they've done away with the extended versions of them, because that was back when it used to have the 3 pill system, I used to call it. You'd sort of build up 3 bars, and then you could activate a bar to go into like hyper mode. And then if you did your super during that, it would be like an extended, more powerful version of it. But now I think they've just, like I say, they've spun that into the ultimate attacks or whatever it is they've called them now.
Okay.
It's got a story mode that you go through with like varying different characters, the usual sort of stuff that Dan hates. Like the sort of,
See,
well, you know, like the silly story modey type of
yeah.
thing. But just judging by, like, to give people an idea of like the fact that it was quite shocking how big this game is, Guilty Gear Strive is 15.6 gig.
Yeah. Big difference.
And like this is like, yeah, this is like 5 times the size. Almost.
Yeah. That's cool. I actually downloaded it this week just because I wanted to give it a go, because I saw a few people in our Discord were talking about it as well.
Yeah, this is on all platforms, like, well, bar
Yeah.
the Switch, because previously I think King of Fighters 14 was PlayStation 4 only. Then they released it on the PC a bit later on,
Right.
but then it just stayed at that. Whereas this one, they've decided to whack it down on everything.
It's always been free versus free, so you choose 3 different characters on your team.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the early ones, I can't remember if it was the same. It was definitely like it in 94, but in 95 they might have started to change it, or it might have been the same. But I know definitely in 94, when you picked your team, that was it. You just picked the group of 3 you
Right.
wanted. So you couldn't mix and match the characters. You always had to go with just that team setup.
Right. Oh, okay.
Which was kind of a bit what's it back then, because you might have been like, I like that character, I like that one, not so much that one. Or that's a really good character, but he's with 2 people I don't like to use, sort of a thing.
Yeah, it's quite weird, like, because I've not played. Well, I've played some of the old Neo Geo ones on the Switch, but not much. But comparing it to Street Fighter, it's a lot slower, like with the moves, if that makes sense. Which takes a little bit of getting used to.
Oh, right, I actually thought it seemed quite pacey. Like the earlier ones were definitely a bit sluggish. If you look at going right back to obviously some of the earlier ones, like Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, which is
Right.
where most of these characters come from, they were obviously a lot slower as well.
Oh, okay. So, well, what I have noticed is there's a lot of question marks on the roster, so I'm guessing they're going to be DLC characters at some point.
Yeah, it's Team Pass 1 and Team Pass 2.
Right.
They've already announced the characters for it. I mean, the edition of the game I got came with those.
Right, okay.
I think it was like some art placards, CD soundtrack, art book, and the season pass, and the extra pre-order characters, I was actually quite happy that I got included. One of them was the Leona classic outfit, because if you look on the advertisement for the game and everything, that was kind of advertised as a digital only.
Right.
And I thought, hold on a minute, like I'm buying a physical copy of like the best version we can get in the UK or in Europe. And what, I'm not going to get that outfit. That seemed a bit out of order. But no, it was included. I mean, the best versions of the game I've seen seem to be available in Japan only.
Right. Okay.
Where the game actually comes in a replica Neo Geo case.
Oh, that's super cool.
And there's like different ones, and it's actually done up as though King of Fighters 15 is actually on the Neo.
Oh wow.
Of a thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, that comes, I
think
think, with
it's
everything I've got, but just the extra case and stuff.
yeah, I think it's a cool. I think it's a cool fighting game. I mean, I'm not a massive fighting game dude anyway, to be fair. But I do think it's a lot of fun. I quite like the aspect of having 3 people per team. So if one person gets knocked out, it's then you down to the next one, so it can make for some good battles. The other thing I did notice though, that made me laugh, is it did remind me of Dead or Alive a little bit with the older boob physics on the women characters.
Well, no, that's just literally there.
I think I just
obviously,
like
yeah,
there's one
I
of
will
them.
say,
What's her name, May or something, and she like is hunched down and her boobs are just swinging all over the place.
She's always been like that in all of the games. Bit of a thing. But yeah, because it's a Japanese game, they actually show women as women, whereas the other game I've played this week mainly, you can't really fucking tell the difference sometimes.
Yeah, to be fair, May's been like that since 1994.
Yeah.
No, I'm not complaining about it. I think it's great, but yeah, it just made me chuckle.
But yeah,
it's nice to see.
Fighters 98 is my favourite fighting game of all time.
Oh wow!
So I generally always pick up like these games when they go out. They can be hit and miss. Like they tried doing quite a lot with it back on the 360 when they did, like, I think it was King of Fighters 13.
That's it, yeah.
When the characters got quite sort of stocky and they tried to go for like a 2D sort of hand-drawn, cel-shaded look with the characters.
Okay.
It sort of worked, sort of didn't. And then obviously you had 14, which had fantastic gameplay, but the character models were a little, say,
PlayStation 2.
nowhere near that bad. But I'd say they were kind of like, what was the last Marvel vs. Capcom? Marvel vs. Capcom.
Infinite.
Yeah, Infinite or whatever. It kind of reminded me of that. Like some of the models were great, some of them not so much. It was kind of like, it's not as bad as it could be, but it could be a lot better. And it didn't help that we had stuff like Street Fighter 5 out, which still looks great graphically.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I've got some real hopes for this game. Obviously, I haven't played it. I've got it. I'm looking at the case as we speak. But I mean, I must admit, I've kind of moved away from the mainstream fighting games on the last gen because they were absolutely terrible. To be frank, Lag Fighter 5 was possibly just it was a train wreck from day one. You know, like you said,
I bought it day one, and there was nothing to do on it really, and I was just like, this is awful. And then they added in like the loot box stuff. They put in weeklies and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is a fighting game. Like, why are you treating it like an online service or an MMO kind of thing? And that's what that game is. It is a live service game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as a proper beat 'em up. It's a live service.
The worst thing they could have done though, and I'm sorry, I'm going to sound like a real douchebag when I say this, but they have got to stop making games accessible for new people. And I say that, and I don't mean to sound really sort of like douche about it, but you spend donkey's years playing these games and training, if you like, training yourself to play these games, and then all of a sudden you go online, and because they've made it so like the inputs so vague that, you know, my 11-year-old could pull off a dragon punch, right, a wake up dragon punch into super. It's like you kind of sit there and you think, well, you've made it a bit, you know, you've taken a niche game that has taken many years for people to practice and get good at, and you've literally just put it back into the hands of the button mashers. And the amount of times I've gone online and fought against someone like that and lost on Street Fighter 5, I'm like, I'm done. I can't play it. And that's why I went over to games like Under Night, Into Birth, and Blaze Blue Tag, and like Arcwork games, because they just seem to have that skill level still. You know, there was that gap, there was that skill gap. You know, you came across someone that is absolutely amazing, you're going to get your ass handed to you. But at the same time, if you come up against someone that isn't as good, you're going to do better. You know what I mean? There is that skill gap where, and I'm hoping with the new gen that they've learnt their lesson with Street Fighter, and these fighting games companies are actually making games again. So I've got a lot of high hopes for this game. Guilty Gear Strife was a great game. I must admit, it was.
When it comes to the move thing, I will say everyone's supers and special moves are all the exact same inputs on 15. And I'm not a fan. I get why they do it, but at the same time, you're taking something away from a character from individually. Like, there was a certain reason, like, say, back when you played Street Fighter, when you picked Guile, you knew that if you wanted to pull off his super move, it was a pain in the fucking arse, and nowhere near as hard as, say, pulling off like Ken or Ryu's. Or if you were picking someone like Akuma, you were practicing that little like light punch, forward, medium kick to hard punch, like combo or whatever it was to do his like Raging Demon over and over to try and get the timing right. But that's why these games have intensive training modes that you can go into and like practice the characters and learn all their different moves and stuff. Also on the plus side, I do sometimes get annoyed with like the gimmick that each fighting game decides they have to have. Like Super Crush God cancel and you end up going into training and you try doing this thing like for about a minute before you actually pull it off. And then pretty much for myself, I'm like, right, I'm never going to use that again. I'm just literally using it to go through the thing because it's so shit to pull off. Like, why am I going to literally struggle to do that in the middle of a game and lose, like, when I can just, like, carry on regardless? Because even back then, like, with the games where you get, like, the combo training, and it'd be like, do this combo, and it's like a pain in the fucking arse. Whereas you can do one that's better, does more damage, does more hits, and it's easier to do. Kind of. But I went through the training on this pretty much first time. I didn't really get stuck on anything. On any of the different bits and bobs. Like, you've got the roll out the ways, the roll back, the guard cancels, the crushes, the super cancels into special moves and stuff, and yeah, they've still got the simplicity mode where you can just basically jump in and push like mash X or square 4 times in a row to do like a light quick 4-hit combo straight into a special and things like that.
I like that.
Again, it would be nice if you could turn that off and be able to do it like, because it used to be, didn't it, like where you'd go from like say light to hard.
Yeah.
And that would do a combo, but now it just seems to be just one button.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember Street Fighter, Capcom versus SNK on the GameCube? They had a version where you could literally pull off a fireball, like a Hadouken or a Dragon Punch with
just the analog, wasn't it?
Yeah, with just the analog. The yellow analog stick on the GameCube controller. You should literally just press down, Dragon Punch, press up. Yeah, and that game flopped massively hard on the GameCube. It didn't sell barely any units compared to like the PlayStation 2 version, etc. And they that should have told them years ago. Like, look, fighting games aren't to be made like easy. You know, and I get what you're saying, Switch, with the inputs, but as long as the inputs are precise, I mean, you go back to Street Fighter 1, the very first ever Street Fighter, it was so difficult just to do a quarter circle punch, which is Dragon Ball.
Do you remember back in the day when you'd be down the arcade and you'd pull off a Dragon Punch and you'd be like,
yeah, and you'd be like, of course, no cameras at them days. Unless your mate brought one of the old disposable ones along, it's like, but by then it's like you ain't going to get it on. It's a still photo. It's like there's no videotapes. There's no phone cameras to watch you do it. It was literally like, I pulled a dragon punch off, and no, you didn't. Bullshit. I did. I promise, I did. But now it's literally, in Street Fighter 5, you don't even have to do the full quarter square circle. You don't. You can literally go down, diagonal down punch, and it will still do a punch. It will still do a dragon punch.
Yeah, no, I remember like pretty much some of the supers. Like I always remember a lot of the SNK games having some of the most brutal super moves to pull off.
Yeah.
Like I remember Geese Howard actually had one of the hardest. I remember
Double full circle, wasn't it?
it was kind of like sort of diagonal down back to forward to rotate to back to down forward again, or something like that. It was kind of bizarre. And it was the one where he puts his hands down and the big cage of energy comes up around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that being a pain in the arse, and obviously, yeah, the double rotation ones were always a pain. You almost had to do those like mid jump.
Yeah, yeah. It
You
was
kind of did them as you landed.
Zangief's super spinning pole driver, double circle punch. So difficult. So difficult. It was like one of them moves where it was.
Because as soon as you start it, he jumps, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
there it goes.
But the crazy thing is, though, I play like Street Fighter games on my emulators, and I'll just go straight in there, and I'll be like training mode. Yeah, bang bang. I'll do it first time now. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like couldn't do it for love nor money. But yeah,
Just trained yourself all those years, mate. Look at you
That's
now.
it.
Super
That's it,
pro.
yeah, just a
But
bit,
yeah.
just a bit fatter. That's all that's happened.
One of the other things I really like about this is you can go through like arcade mode or the story mode, should I say, with like set amount of characters, and you unlock other songs from like the previous titles in the series,
That's quite cool.
which is complete and utter nostalgia for me. So to start off with, you get the soundtrack for obviously this one, the last one, 14, and you get the soundtrack for King of Fighters 94.
Oh, nice.
I think you can pretty much unlock the soundtracks to all of the King of Fighters series, plus Samurai Showdown, and some of Metal Slug, I think soundtrack you can unlock as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And like various other, there's one that just comes under Neo Geo's, sort of like classic sort of a thing. And you can set those to play when you're on certain levels and stuff. Because I remember I've seen people fighting on the Haunted Fairground level with King, and they've had like thingy Peridot, which used to be the song from Art of Fighting 2, which I did almost choose as like one of the tracks for our sort of like music special. But I went for Mustang Man instead, John Crawley, who I'd still love to have in the King of Fighters games. I just don't think they want to put in another military character because they've already got like 4 of them in there, with like Ralph, Clark, Leona, and Hayden.
Fair enough.
But people seem to be taking to this pretty damn well, as far as I can tell from Twitter. Like a lot of people are enjoying it and playing it, and like the fighting game community on YouTube, etc., is all playing it at the moment and talking about it.
So is this knocked out Guilty Gear now, has it, from people's playlists?
For the moment, because fighting games kind of like live between characters when it comes to like the fighting game community or the tournament scene, which is why we end up with rushed titles like Street Fighter 5, where they rush them out for a tournament.
Right.
But to be honest, if you're putting esports over an actual game, then fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what they did with Street Fighter 5, didn't they? Like you say, It was dreadful. And Capcom even admitted it, to be honest.
Well, I think that's part and parcel one of the reasons why Yoshinori Ono left the company, because he kind of got a bit pissed off with how they were treating the titles. And you can have all the creative control what you want over a franchise, but at the end of the day, the publisher will come down and do things with it that you're not happy with, and because you're working for that company, you can't turn around and slag them off to everyone. So it'd be interesting what he says, like after X amount of years are up or whatever, and he can speak a bit more freely. But there's rumours, like I think Dan mentioned before, that he left as well because he wanted to bring out Street Fighter 6, but yet they kind of wanted to hold it back, which is why they ended up doing another season pass of characters for Street Fighter 5.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I
Because
must.
one of the characters from that wasn't the last character released from Street Fighter 5 supposed to be the lead character for Street Fighter 6, was the rumour.
I don't know, to be honest, man, because I switched off of Street Fighter 5 about 2 years ago. Literally, I've got it installed. I've not played it. I've played the 30th anniversary collection more than I played Street Fighter 5, and that was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, because that was the emulation on that was absolutely garbage. But it was the old Street Fighters. It was the better Street Fighters. So I just played them. I don't play Street Fighter 5. Haven't done for a long time.
Rumours, well, is it the 20? I'm trying to work out because there's actually a countdown at the moment on Capcom's website for a game announcement.
Resident Evil 9.
Coming either later tonight or tomorrow.
Ooh.
And obviously it kind of is supposed to be just after what would have been a Street Fighter 5 championship. So there's a lot of people speculating it's going to be Street Fighter 6. Then you've got other people hoping it's going to be Dino Crisis. You've also got another load of people sitting there thinking, I hope it's Dragon's Dogma 2. But I think it's generally going to be fighting game related if it's the case of coming out just after like what would have been a tournament that I think it was cancelled due to various difficulties of COVID related things or couldn't get the venue or something.
Let's see a Marvel versus Capcom 2.
That would be nice, but could they actually do it now? They've possibly got access to all the characters. Because obviously back before, like Fox had all of the X-Men characters, which was kind of why I think Marvel kept them out of the last game. We ended up getting more of an MCU style roster.
I thought I thought the Marvel characters were owned by Sony, the rights, because the last Marvel films were made by Sony. Like the Spider-Man, because Spider-Man used to be owned by Sony, didn't they? Like the Tobey Maguire ones.
Spider-Man is still owned by Sony. They've kind of signed a bit of a like shake hands with the enemy kind of clause to cross over into each other's films for a certain amount of time for obviously large amounts of money. And probably, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think Marvel are probably that happy that the new Spider-Man film, which is basically Sony, made more money than all of the Marvel films they've released this past year combined.
Yeah, but that's because all the Marvel films they released this year have been trash.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, I mean, if Capcom announced Street Fighter 6, I mean, I think it's about 4 years too late, to be honest. Don't get me wrong. Look, we all know Capcom are the masters of milking something until it's literally dry, right? You know. And I thought Street Fighter, in the world of online DLC and updates and things like that, you expect the game to last longer than a couple of years because you can just add DLC to it, especially fighting games. They're the perfect.
But they're not. This is the weird thing. Like you just said, like we've got this digital age now where you can just release something and then just tack everything onto it to try and extend the life of it. But these games die off a lot quicker than they did back in the day. Like there's still people playing like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. There's still people playing like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. There's people playing like the old King of Fighters game. Street Fighter 2 still goes strong all the time. People are out there still playing Darkstalkers, etc. But like after these new ones, they're like flash in the pan and they're gone.
And I think that's because of that's not so much about adding DLC and that's just the game mechanics. That's just, as you said, on day one of Street Fighter 5, and I was one of the day one guys as well. And I literally stopped playing it after a week because I went, this is crap.
Oh.
This is the worst Street Fighter. Where the hell are all the characters? Where's Blanca? Where's E Honda? Where's like Guile? Because Guile was one of the first DLC pack characters. You know,
Isn't
it didn't even have the staple characters in it. And now and don't get me wrong, I know Street Fighter Third Strike never had the staple characters. And to be fair, Third Strike is now one of the best Street Fighters.
Yeah, I was kind of taken off at that at the time. But again, like I think we mentioned this before, when it comes to 2D sprite animation, that's one of the best looking games there is.
100%. 100%. Also, as well, because it had the online. It had the perfect online to it, yeah, where, you know, let's face it, I don't really like referring it to Street Fighter 5, it's Lag Fighter 5, because the first 2 years it was just laggy as hell. You know, I always remember when you look at it, I think it was, which YouTuber, I think it was Core A Gaming, yeah? He actually said that some fighting games, I think it's Skullgirls, you can actually adjust the input lag on Skullgirls to make it like Street Fighter 5.
Oh.
Because Street Fighter has 10 frames of input lag over every other fighting game.
I know a game that had horrendous input lag, but that was just because it was pretty much one of the first online fighting games that I ever played. And that was like Dead or Alive 4 on the 360. Jeez, when I started playing that online.
No, I'm talking about this gen, so I'm talking PS4. So I'm talking like your Skullgirls, your Mortal Kombat 11s, your Dead or Alive 5s and 6, your Soul Calibur 6. Is it 6 everyone? Yeah, 6. Tekken, you know, your newest games. Some of them even were taking the mick and like taking the piss out of Capcom, going, look, if you come over to our game and it's too quick for you, you can increase the input lag, so it makes it like the rest. You know, it's and I'm sorry, Street Fighter 5 is a laughing stock. It really is. And to be honest, if they release a Street Fighter 6, they've really got to put more attention to detail in it. Because if they release 6 like 5, I ain't buying it. Simple as that. It's one fighting game I'll never buy again. It's just.
I mean, it's a fine line to obviously try and attract new players, and at the same time respect like the older people who like something a bit more complex, something that they can sink their teeth into and whatnot. I mean, take example going back to Street Fighter 3, that parry system. Like at first it freaks you out because you're like, what the hell is this? And obviously they kind of train you in some of the bonus stages, don't they? Where you have something like you had Sean like throwing the basketballs at you.
That's it. Yeah.
Parry them. Yep. Do the perfect parries, and obviously, if you'll know by one of the most famous fighting game clips of all time,
moment 37,
it's possible to pretty much parry and aside every single move in that game.
Yeah,
with the right timing.
Yeah, Chun-Li's 19-hit super, you mean? Moment 37. Yeah. Yeah. Diego, I can't pronounce his name. Mekahara. Oh, I can't pronounce it, but yeah, Justin Wong, wasn't it?
Yeah, just. Literally, just I watch that all the time when I'm bored, just because it's got one of the most fantastic crowd reactions I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Thank God someone was videoing that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, because it's like the Dragon Punch in the arcades when you're telling your mates, isn't it? It'd be one of them scenarios. So it really happened. Yeah, all right. But to be fair, it happened in a tournament like about 3 years later, didn't it?
Yes, someone else did it as well. Yeah.
No, the same two players.
Oh right.
Yeah, he did it again. He did it again to Justin Wong. Yeah. But it wasn't like it wasn't a pixel of health. It wasn't like that dramatic. It was like the first round, and he still had half his energy bar left, but he pulled it off, and he just decided to do it on him. It was like, yeah, guy's a legend.
There's still people on my Twitter feed that come out with Street Fighter 3 videos even now. Of like combos and stuff they come across and like trying different things with it.
Well, to be fair,
the weirdest character roster going, and like yourself, I'm kind of puzzled because I thought the Alpha series was quite a winning formula for them. Like Alpha 3, I thought was fantastic.
I don't know. I'm more of an Alpha 2 man. To be fair, I love Street Fighter Alpha 2. I think it's because it was one of like the the first
Was it
fighting
when they
games.
first brought in like Jury and stuff? The other dolls, like Cammy, but they had the head swap.
No, that was 3, I think. I'd have to go back and have a look. I think that was 3. I'm sure that was 3. But the Alpha series, you're right, were absolute cracking games. And it was actually the first game that I could beat my brother on. First Street Fighter game I could beat my brother on. That's why it's one of my favourites.
It was also the first series of games where, like, Sagat was a fucking beast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you had Young Ken,
really
Young
using
Ryu.
much in Street Fighter 2, but then, like, in the Alpha games, it's like, oh, it's a bit of a beast.
Yeah, and then they went and released him in Street Fighter 5, and he's like literally worse than Abigail in the game. You can literally spam some of his super, and it's just ridiculous.
Was Adon or Addon in? He was in Street Fighter 4, wasn't he? He wasn't in 5.
Adon. Yeah, he was in 4. Everyone was in 4. To be fair, Ultra 4.
I love Street Fighter 4. 4 was great.
Didn't play it.
I think it's quite funny.
Right.
We've gone from King of Fighters to like every single fighting game under the sun.
That's because you have to. You kind of stick to the 2D ones. You don't need to go into the likes of Tekken and Dead or Alive or Virtual Fighter because they're a different kettle of fish. They're a real different kettle of fish, different skill set.
Yeah, I don't feel I have the same amount of control in a 3D fighter as I do in a 2D fighter.
No, I don't. I don't.
I cannot stand pushing a button to block either.
Yeah, that's Virtual Fighter, isn't it? I don't like that either. I mean, I like Tekken. I like the idea that there's 4 buttons and they're 4 limbs, and no matter which way you face, that button will always represent that limb. Yeah, I like that idea. But my God, it gets confusing if you switch around, if you're on the 2-player side, or if you turn around, it's confusing as hell. But what I did like about Tekken 7 is they introduced the 2D characters into a 3D plane, which kind of made it a little interesting, because when I jumped into Tekken 7 and played Akuma, I was like, I'm playing a 2D fight. It feels like I'm playing a 2D fighter right now, but it's a 3D fighter. I like that concept, and I wish they would do it a lot more. I wish they would bring back Street Fighter X plus Alpha series, but
and when they brought the Tekken characters into the 2D plane with Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah, except that I wish that game just was a little bit more polished.
I wanted to see the reverse, but it never happened because that game didn't do particularly well, did it?
Yeah, it flopped. It flopped massively, and then the Tekken, what was it? The Tekken owner just went, "Yeah, we're not going to touch that one. We're going to concentrate on Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 6."
Yeah, he's good on Twitter, actually.
Yeah, he literally put his hands up and went, "Yeah, we're not going to make that mistake," because Street Fighter Cross Tekken was done by Capcom, wasn't it? And then Bandai Namco were going to do Tekken Cross Street Fighter, and he's just gone, "Yeah, I'm just going to release a Tekken game and make it better."
Do you think the struggle of fighting games these days is the lack of arcades?
100%.
Yeah, because you see these for months in arcades, and then just the sheer prospect of having a home version that you could get your hands on.
And to be honest, I also think it's so when we were growing up, so you had, let's face it, be absolute 100% honest, when we were growing up, we had, Mario, and we had fighting games. Then it wasn't until even on the Sega Saturn, PlayStation 1, there was a lot of quality fighting games on there, but it was at that time games started to get into the first person realm. So you had Duke Nukem, you had games like Exhumed, and then obviously Call of Duty came along on the next gen consoles, like the big red one, and like Medal of Honor and things like that. And then you had Resident Evil, and you had the survival horrors, and I think basically it's kind of lost itself because all of these new genres of games come out, and now in this genre you've even lost the survival horror aspect. You've got battle royales now, you've got first person shoot 'em ups, you've got battle royales. I
always think that fighting games are better played, not
couch
online.
co-op.
Yeah, couch co-op. Yeah,
versus, sorry.
100%.
Yeah,
but the fight.
And it loses something when you're playing it online, and I think that's what's killed fighting games, to be honest, in my view.
But the thing is, it's like anything. I mean, I still remember GoldenEye sitting there with 3 other mates and smash. And that was always better than playing COD online. But yet, look how many thousands of people play COD online. It's fighting games have that ability that they could create that atmosphere, if you like, online. Like people get the same atmosphere when they're playing COD online. You know, all right, you're not sat next to someone, but let's be honest, you could, you know, we've got party chats, we've got Discords. You could physically talk to someone. I think the problem you just got is it is a dying genre because the old school people like me and you and Switch, we grew up playing these in the arcades, and that's where you could only play these games. Arcade perfect games, even Street Fighter 2 on the SNES wasn't arcade perfect to, you know, because it just wasn't a powerful console.
One of the things that I think that Street Fighter does do well, though, and I don't know if any other fighting games do this because I don't play them that much, to be fair, is like you can set a room up and you can have like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people in a room and you all take it in turns fighting each other. Like winner stays on and you're all in chat together, just watching the other people fight, just waiting for your turn. And I like that aspect. If it's done well,
they could go down that. I mean, they kind of did in a sense with games like Power Stone, where it was like 4-player. I think didn't they have like 6-player or 8-player in the second one? I'm trying to remember. It was like 4 of you all duking it out together, but it was like a 3D fighter rather than a 2D. And then if you're taking that into sort of like adding wrestling to it, the fight for like the Def Jam series, I think would be really good online, but I think that's pretty much dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, most of you're not going to get the licensing for most of the rappers in that now, as well as the music as well. And unfortunately, there is going to be I hate to say it, but there is going to be a bit of a pussy willow out there that's going to get upset with the lyrics in the song and probably, you know, call the gaming police to get it banned. No, I hear what you mean. I mean, Street Fighter V's lobby system's fantastic, and I think something that I must admit Killer Instinct did very well was their online. The new Killer Instinct on the Xbox, I thought that was probably one of the best fighting games in the last 2 generations that not have only had great net play, great character base, just had an absolutely fantastic game overall.
Yeah.
But, yeah, again, being on an Xbox, not the greatest console. The Xbox One wasn't the greatest console, didn't outsell the PlayStation 4, just didn't get the proper audience, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still got a following, though. It's still a game that he's mentioned a lot.
I still play it. It's, you know, I'll still jump onto it from time to time. Leave it a couple of weeks, jump on it for half a day, sit there and just smash the hell out of it, and then play it again in another 2 weeks. It's still a go-to game for me. But yeah, I just think it was a dying genre, and I think what they're trying to do, and I understand what Capcom are trying to do, they're trying to bring in the noobs, the new people, and make it more accessible to new people, and making the combo systems easier, and making, you know, the special moves easier. And I think it had a detriment on the old school players, but the old school players were always going to stick with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once you put those new players in, you also need the depth there to keep them playing the game.
Yeah, and some of the new players probably haven't really realised that Capcom are notorious at just putting out the same game with a different title and charging you an extra 30 quid.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest.
Anyway, I'll move on because we'll be here for fucking ages if I carry on chatting about fighting games, to be honest. Also this week, much to everyone's surprise, CD Projekt Red announced a live stream this week to showcase a new patch for Cyberpunk 2077. And straight after the stream ended, which showcased obviously the Series X and S and the PS5 updates for the game, as well as a few other improvements, turned around and said it's available now to download. So I went off and downloaded it. And I have been very happy with it, to be perfectly honest.
Well, taking their freaking time with it, haven't they, getting this out?
They have, yeah. It's been like, what, a year and a half almost?
When did it come out? December 2020, right?
Like November 2020, I think it was, somewhere like that. It was just literally a week or so before the Series X and PS5s came out, wasn't it?
Bloody hell! I mean,
From what I can remember.
like it's so bizarre to me because I did obviously I saw a lot of people get really excited for this, and like to me it that's quite snobby, but in my mind it's an old game now because I completed it so long ago and I had a really good experience with it, and I'm like, you're only just getting the decent version of the consoles now. Fucking hell, man!
Yeah,
Mental.
well, I think that unfortunately was due to the fact of the previous generation versions not being up to par.
Yeah,
So a
yeah,
lot of their
100%. Yeah.
development time and everything was basically sorting on getting them out fixed and like in some sort of working order before they'd even go ahead doing this. Otherwise, I think we'd have got this update a while back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the resolutions had a nice hefty bump to it. The frame rates had a nice bump to it. All of the things that I was kind of hoping for back when it was originally on the next gen systems, they've added, like, you can now purchase different apartments in the game,
Oh, that's cool.
and doing some of the activities in those apartments gives you like special buffs
Okay.
as well, like sort of XP boosts and sort of other things here and there. You can apparently also do makeovers for your original apartment,
Nice.
where you can buy like a set like style makeover for it and such. They've improved the AI, so the AI, rather than just standing there while hell breaks loose, like if certain civilians are armed, they'll actually pull guns and fight back.
Okay. That's cool.
There's extra romance stuff now, so if you go round and sleep at your other half's apartment, there's more often than not a chance you'll wake up and they're laying in bed next to you.
Okay.
And they will also sort of like flirt with you through text messages more. I've heard Pan Am sends like nudes.
Brilliant.
And
That's
things like
funny.
that.
Oh, sounds like
So
they've
yeah,
done a lot of work then.
yeah, you can also now visit the like mirror in your apartments and customize your face a little bit, like change your hairstyle and things, but you can't change your body type or anything like
Uh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
So I think they probably will add that in at a later date, along with what most people are hoping for is like some sort of car customization options as well.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to be extra sort of stores or places you visit in the open world. They've rejigged some of the map design as well, so like they've tidied up a lot of the icons, and you've now got the option to sort of like stop constant phone calls coming through.
Okay.
Because while you were driving around in the open world, every time you go past like an activity or a gig or
Yeah.
whatever, you'd get a phone call from that person, and it was like, and again and again, and someone else is now texting me about stuff. Also, if you now go back into the game, if you've completed all of the missions for the different fixes, you unlock rewards based on them,
Oh, okay. That's quite cool.
be it like unique weapons or vehicles
Okay. That's
that you
awesome.
now get. There's still no transmog in there, which I'm hoping is going to come at some point. But yeah, I've mucked around with like the photo mode and stuff in it, and you can really see obviously the jump in the resolution with some of the clothing you wear. There was like a jacket I had in my closet, which was like one of these like big puffer jacket things,
Yeah.
but it had like a gold leaf full like design all over the back of it and everything, and like moving LED lights.
Oh, that's cool.
And even now, when you sort of get there and you zoom in, it's all like nice and crisp and everything on it, like the visuals. Also, obviously, improved the lighting, the shading, and the HDR,
Are you playing it
etc.
on Xbox or PlayStation? Just out of interest.
Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I got the Xbox One. Apparently, the PlayStation one's a bit of a bugger because you have to sort of go in and start the game up and then choose to download the PS5 version of the game.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But it
Pain in
kind
the
of
ass.
installs
Yeah.
both, and then you have to delete one of them or whatever.
Oh, okay. Odd. Very
The
odd.
usual kind of
Yeah.
piss about that you have to do with the PlayStation side, rather than it just being like, oh, you're playing this on the PS5, you're obviously going to want the PS5 version. So
Yeah.
I'm still yet to play this game.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I really liked it. It was my number 2 game of like the year it came out. Like bugs and stuff aside, I mean, there's still people now saying they've reported bugs with this new update, but thankfully I haven't really come across anything.
Yeah, so I think I called it for what it was when it was like coming out. It was like it's just going to be a mess. It's going to be broken. It's going to be like, and yeah, I kind of called it right, and I just went, I'm not going to probably bother with this now. And I haven't, to be honest. It's not really been a game that I've been dying to come out on the PS5 and to get it.
No, that's fair. I mean, I played it on the PC when it came out, and to be honest, the game mostly was. I didn't have any issues at all. It ran and looked fantastic. It just seemed the consoles just got the short end of the stick, to be honest, which was a crying shame. So
yeah, there's 2 graphical modes to choose from on obviously the next gen systems. There's a like 4K ray tracing 30 FPS mode, or there's like a upscaled 4K or whatever it is 60 FPS mode, but it doesn't have the ray tracing.
yeah.
But to be honest, it looks fine without it. Like there's a few games that kind of do. It just tidies up like bits and bobs here and there. And to be honest, like when you're driving around the city at night, that's when the game really shines, in my opinion,
100%,
anyway.
yeah.
With all like the moving advertisements on like the curbs of the road and things like that.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, it is a beautiful game. When I played on the PC, I mean, I noticed on the PC version that the ray tracing made a really big difference in a lot of areas. I was just really pleased just to be able to play it like that. To be honest, yeah, it's a fantastic game. I'm just glad they finally sorted it out for the next gen consoles now, so more people can enjoy it the way it's supposed to be played. I've noticed a hell of a lot of people are playing it again now, which is great. So.
Well, there is currently, at the moment, I think it's half price on sale on both platforms anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, if you wanted to try it out, you can download a free trial of it.
Oh, that's cool. That's good.
Which allows you to play through like, I think it's like the first 5 hours or so of the game.
Oh, wow.
So kind of enough to get you sort of like, and give you an idea of what it's like. Or you can probably go out in the wild now and buy a nice cheap physical copy of it, because they're probably sort of like well under 20 quid.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah.
Although the value of those might start slowly creeping up after this patch was introduced, as the demand went up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been fantastic and a nice surprise this week, which I wasn't expecting. And obviously, I'll move on to the final game after, like mentioning Black Desert, Fortnite, Final Fantasy 14, etc., the usuals, and Valhalla, etc. But yeah, I, like obviously a lot of people this week, did get Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
And it's pretty much what I expected. To a degree, I'm having a lot of fun playing through it. It's bringing back a lot of sort of like that stuff from the first game where you're killing the dinosaurs and looting their bodies for all the different components and items, etc. as well. But it just has, I know, again, some people have had glitches and issues with it. I did see your weird one you posted yesterday, Webby, where like the game had gone down to like 10 or 15 FPS or whatever it was, and it was like slow.
Yeah.
For some random reason.
I've had quite a lot of bugs with the game, to be honest.
But aside from that, it just has that fucking polish that first-party PlayStation games just have.
Yeah.
In that sense, where you just kind of sat there and you are kind of wowed by how well they can actually produce games for their hardware.
Yeah.
like
100%.
the colours, the character models, the lighting and everything in the game, etc. I've had a few sort of like weird bits where you're climbing around, and you know the bits where you sort of like jump in from log to log to log to get to the other
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
and then you'll get to the other side, even though it's like a complete flat
You
surface going
can't
ahead
climb
of you.
up.
Your character still stands there as though they're on another log waiting to do another jump,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, no, just go.
yeah, yeah. I actually completed it today.
Bloody
So,
hell.
um, yeah. So I was going to get into it in my section, but I might as well just get into it now since we're talking about it. Because obviously I've been ill all week, so I decided to go through, and I never finished Horizon Zero Dawn, so I started it
All right,
again.
the first one.
Yeah, so I started that
Did you
again.
do the DLC or was it just the
Nah, I
main game?
couldn't be fucked to do the DLC. And to be fair, you don't need to. Because one thing I have noticed, I think I've done it the right way, to be honest, because I've got such a shit memory. Like if I'd played Horizon Zero Dawn 5 years ago when it come out, I would have forgotten it by now. You know what had happened. Because Forbidden West carries on from where Zero Dawn ends, pretty much exactly
Yeah.
from where the main game ends. Which the game does do quite a good job of doing a recap though, which is probably well needed for those people that did only play it 5 years ago.
And I don't think you really need to have played it either to know what's going on in this. It's all explained fairly well.
It is explained, but I personally do think that you should play the first game before you play this, just because you experience the full story. That's just my personal opinion, and for me, it's been interesting because it feels like it's felt like just one continuous long game because I finished Zero Dawn on Wednesday, and then I started playing Forbidden West on Thursday, so a day early. So literally end one day and start playing the next one the next day. Uh, and to be fair, like Horizon Zero Dawn still holds up amazingly well now. I mean, I think Zero Dawn as a 5-year-old game, PlayStation 4 game, looks better than a lot of so-called next-gen games anyway, especially when you compare it to something like Dying Light 2. Like compare that to Zero Dawn and there's no comparison there. Dying Light 2 looks like fucking dog shit compared to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Decima engine. I've
It's
always sung its
fantastic.
praises from when
Yeah.
it launched, and then obviously I think they've learnt a little bit because they allowed obviously Kojima to use that engine for Death Stranding,
Yeah.
which was I think a big reason to why a lot of the environments in that game looked so good.
Yeah, they really do. But the one thing that I have noticed, and it's only a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, because I'm quite picky. I tried it on quality mode, which is 4K with the 30 frames per second, and there's actually quite a big graphical difference between that and the performance mode. I personally think that the quality mode is unplayable. I can't play it like that because it doesn't feel like 30. It feels like more like 20. Like it's really like I'm not even joking, right? And it hurts my eyes. I can't play it in that mode. It just feels like it's too slow motion. It's really like if you're moving your right thumbstick from side to side or just turning around, it's very jarring and it just makes my eyes feel funny.
Yeah, I mean I'm playing
Yeah.
in performance, and
Yeah.
I think the game still looks
Yes,
fantastic.
it
I
does.
mean,
It does look fantastic. But if you stand still and you look and you change between quality and performance, you do notice a degradation. Like it does look quite pixelated in places. Like like on the beginning where you're going down that big lift, right? You put
yes,
that in
yeah, that's the
quality
era I'm
mode.
at now.
Yeah, you put that in quality mode, and it's all very sharp and very smooth. Put it on performance mode, and like the wires on the lift all look very jaggy. And that's just me being picky. Because to be honest, the game looks absolutely fantastic on performance modes. I'm not slagging it off at all. I think it looks amazing, but you can see that quite striking difference if you're sad enough like me to sit there switching between the two modes every so often just to compare the areas.
Yeah, no, I did watch the Digital Foundry video, like when they were doing like the performance test with it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even when they were sort of showing it off, and I was like, bloody hell, that looks nice. And then they were like, yeah, we're currently on performance mode, and I was like, that's fine with me.
yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with that. But then even then on there, they said like, oh, if you really want to notice the slight difference on certain bits, he said I constantly find myself just switching between the two just to sort of like look for stuff, because obviously they're into like checking out all the different
Yeah, it's
technological
something that I like doing as
changes.
well. Yeah, but to be fair, like it looks fantastic, and there's so many different variations in the places that you go to. Right, you've got the lush green areas, you've got big sandy areas, you've got like a lot of water areas.
The
Um,
water areas look amazing.
yeah,
Like
but to be honest, right, I think people do forget how good Zero Dawn's graphics are, because I personally don't think there's actually really a big jump between the games, and that just shows just how good technology-wise the original
it's
game
yeah,
actually is.
mainly on the character models and the
Yeah,
character animations and facial animations. That's where I think
oh,
a lot of
massive.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in the world
upgrades have been.
itself, I mean, there is some big differences in like the vegetation and stuff like that. But you know, if you go back and play Zero Dawn now, you won't see a massive difference at all, because the original game still looks fucking amazing. Um, yeah, so it's been interesting for me, Darren, to be fair, because like I never got into the first game originally, and I forced myself to go through it. And to be fair, right, I played it probably not the right way in most people's eyes. I just kind of on the original game, I was the reason I stopped playing it is just because I got a bit bored, because I was just doing all the side missions and I just thought they were just a bit samey. Whereas, well, on this playthrough, I went through and just mainlined the main story, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it's a fantastic way just to experience the game. Because you can play it like that. You just were like, right, where's the next main mission? I'll travel there, do that, not bother getting worried about all the other side stuff, and just mainlined it in like under 10 hours. The original game, which is absolutely crazy quick.
Mm.
But I really enjoyed it, and the story's actually absolutely fantastic, and it carries on, and it ends. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it carries on, starts and ends, and the whole way through, just absolutely fantastic as well. So, and I can tell you now that they're probably going to be making a third game as well. So,
That was going to be my next question. Actually, have they opened it up for a third one? Because I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
yet sort of played the third. I haven't got the second one yet, and to be honest, I'm still debating whether to just buy it on PS4. To be honest,
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that's really a spoiler, because like a big franchise like Horizon, they're not just going to end it at number 2, are they? Right, they're going to try and make more games, and I can safely say that there will be a third game. So that's something to really look forward to be honest.
I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, make a trilogy, and then, in my opinion, move on to something else.
yeah,
Because, like we've said before
yeah.
about developers getting a bit sort of like, we're making another one of these. Like,
Yeah, but Forbidden West. It just goes to show, right? I mean, I'm still feeling shit now. I've started playing it on Thursday, and all I've done since Thursday is play this game, and I finished it this afternoon. That's like 4 days, just solid, just playing it. Um, Again, I didn't really bother doing many of the side missions though, because again, like the ones that I did, I was just like, oh, I just wanted, like, it's one of those things, right? That the story's so good, I just want to know what happens next, right? So, like, in my view, it's like, oh, I don't want to be doing these side missions because I want to know what's happening. You know what I mean? So, But the cool thing is when you finish the game, it puts you back into the world, so you can go around and do all the side stuff anyway
Oh, that's
if you want
awesome.
to.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like it when the games allow that.
Yeah, so don't play it thinking, oh no, I need to do everything before the story, because you don't have to. You can go back and do all the other stuff anyway, which is fantastic. And I actually think that might be a better way of doing it, because you do open up other forms of travel which are a lot quick, which make it a lot quicker and easier to get to places a lot later on in the game. So yeah, I that's probably a way which would make it easier to do some certain tasks. To be honest, because there's these tall necks in the game, and it's a bit like Assassin's Creed where you can climb them.
Yeah, they're like towers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it shows you the areas you haven't been to. So later on in the game, I mean, it's not a spoiler because I've seen it in trailers. You can, there's you know you can ride the animals or the the robot animals in these games, right? Well, in this game there's a flying one, so you can unlock that. So
Is it the Glint Hawk? Glint Hawk, is it?
Yeah, so that makes it a lot easier, especially if you want to do the tall necks, because all you've got to do is fly to the top of it and drop off onto it. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's just a few tips for people that haven't played it or got very far. Just don't get too discouraged or worried about banging out all the side stuff before you finish it. And I'll tell you what, man, I mean, this story has so many twists and turns that I did not expect at all, and genuinely shocked me, and I was like, this is so awesome. Oh my god, I need to know what's going to happen next, because this is so cool. And it's just really nice to play a game like that, but because I haven't, a game like when a game sucks you in like that and you really want to know the story, that's when you know you've got a really good game on your hands, where that's all you, when you're not playing it, it's all you're thinking about. Yeah, and then and when you're playing it, you're like, oh, I want to know what happens next. Oh my god, this bit's so cool, because there's so much awesomeness to this game. Like it's not just the story, it's the gameplay itself. Like I actually think they've really improved on the mechanics in this game compared to the first one. Like they've added, like in Zelda, like a glider thing, so you can jump off high areas and glide down, which makes traversal a lot easier.
That would have made that crystal in the first area a lot easier to deal with. Because when you're going down on that, like you say, on the lift, and you're going down, and you'll see right on the top of the first mountain you pass, I was like, what's that big glowing chunk of ore or something up there? I was like, I've got to have it. I've got to have it. So as soon as I got down the bottom, I painfully for 15 to 20 minutes started getting all the way up there to get that. And you can't climb on everything that you think you should be able to climb on.
No, you can't.
There was a few bits when I was trying to jump up, and I'm like, come on, Aloy, a 5-year-old child could get up there, sort it out. Like the game's like, no, you're not supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
But as I say, the game is very beautiful. It has some absolutely stunning vistas, and the difference in the different zones, you say from like the green zones or water zones or whatever, they just all look so different and beautiful in their own way. And there's certain places that you go to in the old world, that you will recognize straight away. Be like, oh wow, this is so cool. I'm going to leave that for you guys to discover, obviously. But one thing I did want to mention though is the combat system. I think is greatly improved from the original game. There's a lot more variation, so you unlock different arrows and other equipment to deal with different enemies in different ways. So when you scan the enemies, it tells you what they're weak against. So like, I don't know, like an acid arrow, prime example. There's certain enemies that are weak to that, and there's other. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to mention the other ones at all, which you pick up a bit later. But there's different types of arrows that you get and other weapons, which you use tactically against the different enemy types, depending on what they're weak to. And you really need to make sure you've got all the amount of resources to be able to make more of that specific ammo. So it just makes the combat a bit more tactical, which is really cool. And the other thing is there's quite a few boss battles in the game, and they're all completely different, and they're all done in a really good way, and they're always weak to one or two things, and you got to make sure you get behind cover and you do use the right ammo against these things to chip the health down, so to speak. But they do get quite difficult later on as well, so you really need to think on your feet and just take your time on some of these battles. So but they were really enjoyable.
You also get the different weird. I don't know what they're called. Are they just called boosters? I'm trying to work out because I've unlocked 2 of them where you'll
Yeah,
basically complete certain nodes on your skill tree, and it
yeah,
encircles like a thing, and then you can
yeah,
equip that booster to your weapon, and you fill
yeah,
up a small bar. I
yeah,
mean, you've kind of seen one of them in one of the early videos where she sort of charges up her spear and like
yeah,
slams it down with
yeah.
energy and stuff.
Yeah, so there are different ones that you do unlock, and they all have different abilities, and it doesn't last for long, like 10, 15 seconds or whatever, but it just gives you like
Mm.
extra damage boost, for example, with your spear for that amount of time, as a prime example, and that's a really cool way because the skill trees actually there's quite a lot of different skill trees, right? So you got like your warrior
Yeah, I think there's
one, you
only
got
about 3 in the first game, wasn't there? I'm trying to remember.
yeah, there is more in there, so there's a lot to unlock. So you really need to think about what your kind of build is going for. To be honest,
And like you were saying as well, there's obviously a slight Metroidvania style to this, in the fact that when I was in one of the underwater areas, it looked like a cave I could go down further, and then it just came up saying, "You lack the equipment to explore this area."
yeah, yeah. So there is some like when you unlock some more equipment slash abilities, whatever, you can go back to other areas to go and go get to bits that you can get to before if you do fancy doing that, which is quite cool. So I mean, the game is massive. The world is huge. I mean, as I say, I literally just went through and banged out the main story because I wanted to know what happens. But I've probably not even done half the map, to be fair. Like a lot of it is still clouded over. It's absolutely massive. There's so
So
much to
you've got
do.
more vistas and cool-looking areas to find as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So yeah, I'll say I completed it. I've completed the main story, but I haven't done anything else, to be fair. And there is a lot of content in this game. I mean, you could probably easily spend 100 hours on it if you wanted to do all the side quests and all the other little bits and bobs around. Because some of the side quests I did do, because I did do some, were quite cool. Some of them were
yeah,
like, oh,
some
they're
of them are kind
repetitive.
of interesting.
Yeah, and the game does kind of force you to do some, to be fair, not a lot. Um, but they're all like a lot. Like some of the side quests are to do with the main characters, who are kind of integral to the game. So you want to do those, but some of them are just like, oh, you need to go and kill a load of these enemies over there to help out our village. And I was like, can't be fucked. Just sort out yourself, you bitches. So yeah, it all just depends. But I do want to reiterate just how fucking awesome the game looks. And I know on social media it does look like I've been moaning about it. I haven't really. It's just I do notice little discrepancies, to be honest, and I have had some issues with the game, just to give some negative points, but I do think these are going to get patched out in the near future. So one of the things I did notice is I got out to the first kind of open world area where there's lots of grass and stuff, and the game looked really shimmery, like really pixely, like with the grass. And I was like, oh, this looks really ugly. And I put this out on Twitter, and within 5 minutes, I had someone reply to me saying, "Oh, it's a known bug with the game. You need to like completely close it down and restart the game, and it goes away." I had to do that so many times throughout my playthrough on the game. It wasn't even funny, so that certainly does need sorting out. And I had
They'll
a few.
probably fix that reasonably quickly as well. Like
Yeah,
where a lot of companies have to submit their stuff to go through all the qualifi-
yeah,
qualification process or whatever it is for patches. I imagine like they pretty much fast track all their own first party
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So like there was one on day one, I think. I don't know if there's been one since for it. But again, like with obviously the Cyberpunk update this week, and obviously Horizon both having performance modes with like
yeah,
um, dynamic resolution and stuff. You kind of look back at Dying Light and you're kind of poking it with a stick. Like, come on then,
yeah. I know.
are you going to give us that resolution increase for fucking 60 FPS mode, or are you going to be stuck at 1080p? Because quite clearly, both of these other games can do that, and your game isn't sort of like graphically pushing anything as much as some of the others
Yeah,
are.
it's quite funny because I completed Horizon Zero Dawn, and then I played some Dying Light 2 online with Sly,
Hunting? All right, Sly.
and I was just like, because I've spent so much time on Zero Dawn and it looks gorgeous. Went on to Dying Light 2 and I was like, oh my god, it looks like an Xbox. Like in my mind, I was like, it looks like an Xbox 360 game. It's so fucking ugly. Which
It
is
doesn't look that bad, but
no, but
you think
it's just
it's
I was just like, oh, it's just very disappointing. But
yeah.
yeah, just going back to Horizon Forbidden West for a moment as well. Just a few other issues I have had. I've had a few bugs in main missions where the quest marker. Well, I had one where there was a character who I was meant to be following, and they just wouldn't move. They were just stuck there, wouldn't do anything, so I couldn't progress the mission. So I had to restart.
Classic.
So I had to restart from my last save, and then they actually decided to move on that go. And then I had another one where the quest marker was like, "Oh, you need to go in this direction," but there was like an invisible wall there, and I couldn't move on. And it was like there's like a guard there, and he was just repeating the same thing over and over again, like, and he wouldn't let me through. It's like, oh, I'll restart my save, and then magically it all starts to work again. Uh, and then the
It's
last,
there to stop you milking it for too long, mate. I think at the end
yeah,
of the day, like that's what it was.
and then the weirdest one I had, which was towards the end of the game. I put a video of this online. I was in this area, and then this was on performance mode, and I was starting to run across this bridge, and all of a sudden the frame rate dropped to about 10 FPS, and it was like going in like complete slow motion, and nothing I could do would sort this out apart from closing the game down and rebooting it again, and then it was fine. That was like the most odd one, because it was like running around, everything, like the wind was moving, the leaves in super slow motion as well. Like everything was just going really slow. Like you're playing a game on a PC that wasn't, powerful enough for it, which was a really odd thing to happen. But apart from that, the game's been really, really good. Really enjoyed it, and it does actually, apart from a few of those negatives, it does actually feel like, in my view, the first kind of next gen console game. To be honest, and just in the graphical department, nothing else has come close to this. To be honest, it's just a massive open world, amazing story, and it just looks absolutely stunning. So
I can't wait to play it.
yeah, Macca, I think you'll love it. If you enjoyed the first game, you'll absolutely
I loved the first one. I did.
You'll love this one then, I think, pretty much.
I did everything on the first one. Got all the special armor and everything.
Wow.
Spent hours on it. So yeah,
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I have noticed.
I did see it's 2 disc on the PS4 for some reason,
That's weird.
which is kind of strange. Yeah, I'm not entirely too sure because obviously I got the PS5 version because it was pretty much the same price most people were playing for the PS4 one.
Yeah, it's really
obviously,
odd
if you look around online, you can get good deals. And it's only on a single
that was really
disc.
odd. That wasn't it. You could buy the PS4 version for £10 cheaper, in most places, but then you get a free PS5 upgrade anyway. So it's like, well, we'll just sell
I
it for the same
think there's a
price.
little bit of ballsing around with that again, though, because
Yeah,
of the way they freaking do everything on the
yeah,
PlayStation for some reason. Just like I know with a few games that I had, like I think it might have been even Resident Evil 8 when I installed it. It installed both versions.
oh, so annoying.
And then I had to delete the PS4 version. Thankfully, it doesn't try and actually reinstall the PS4 version every time I put the disc
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I
But
had
there
that with
were a
Final
few games
Fantasy
that were
VII
doing that.
Remake as well. When I tried to play that on my PlayStation 5, it had both versions installed, so I had to delete the PS4 version. But I have noticed as well with Forbidden West, all the Xbox fanboys have been spamming Metacritic with 0 out of 10 scores, which is very sad indeed.
It's just one of these that it just goes both ways every time, doesn't it?
I know. But yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
it's sad. But I have to say, like, it is easily my top 2 games of the year so far. To be honest, there is a juggle at the minute for my favourite game of the year out of this and Lost Ark at the moment because I'm pretty hooked on that. But this game is absolutely brilliant, and I you know I would say it's a must buy for any PlayStation owner. To be honest, it's absolutely phenomenal. And if I didn't have a PlayStation, I'd be super jealous of this game.
Well, you even if you had I mean, to be honest, like from what I've seen, even like the PS4 Pro and PS4 versions of the game still look good. They're just
Yeah,
missing a lot of those extra little details.
yeah. I mean, it's a weird one because it wasn't initially going to come to the PlayStation 4, was it? It was going to be a PS5 exclusive, and then obviously the chip shortage, not enough PlayStation 5s are out there. They decided, well, we might as well get it out on all systems, you know? Yeah, it does look good on the PS4 as well. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, a lot of good games out at the moment.
Yeah.
We
So
shall
how far
see.
have you got on then, Darren?
About 7 hours. Still in that first area where you come
Yeah.
down,
Okay.
like from the lift. I've been running around doing all the side quests and all the other bits and bobs. I think I'm just about to move on from there.
Right. I knew that's how you would play it because you're very much a completionist, aren't you, on these sort of games? That's why it took you like
Usually, yeah.
200 hours to complete bloody
Well, I want
Assassin's
to find
Creed.
all the different little secrets, things like that, and the old world relics and
Yeah.
bits and bobs. It has its fair share of puzzles. There's obviously that new item that they brought in, which is kind of like one where you can like move debris and pull crates and things.
Yeah.
So there's a few crates where you see them up and you're like, oh, there's a box up there with some items in it and stuff. I want to get it, but I can't work out how the hell I'm supposed to get up there. And then you're like, hold on a minute. Yeah, I can pull that down, can't I? Idiot. Like, and then just yank it down and grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm just amazed I managed to complete. It's taken me 5 years to actually play the first game, and I managed to just finish the stories on both games in 1 week. I'm stunned. I managed to fucking do it.
And we get a massive game this week as well.
Yeah, I mean Elden Ring. Yeah, Elden Ring's out on Friday.
And then what's out the following week, Webby?
Gran Turismo.
whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't wait for GT7.
Oh no, man. I mean, I know Elden Ring's on all platforms, but it just feels to me at the moment that PlayStation is just absolutely killing it with all these exclusive games coming out. That's just how it feels to me. Yeah,
For now, we'll have to see if like they end the year well because they didn't have a very good end of last year, did they?
yeah. They put
mean,
everything
when you
out at the beginning of
had,
the year.
Yeah, I mean Xbox ended last year with like Halo and Forza, like two massive games.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to Elden Ring. I'm really looking forward to Gran Turismo. However, I mean, I'm not going to have a lot of time to play these because we haven't booked our tickets yet, but we're due to be going out to Australia next month, and I'm going to be spending 4 to 5 weeks out there without my consoles. So,
Oh,
Yeah, I'm probably not even going to be able to get much Gran
You must be
Turismo in.
taking your Switch.
I've got 2 Switches. I'll be taking them on my gaming laptop, but I won't be lugging my consoles with me halfway around the world. So yeah, there'll be no Gran Turismo or Elden Ring for a little while. I'll have to play them when I get back and get pulled through on Elden Ring and just have to play catch up on GT. Fortunately, yeah, all good. Anyway, have we talked about Horizon enough? I'm sure we'll talk about it again
Yeah, I
next
think
week.
so. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great.
I see Stunty's been loving it as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's picked it up.
Yeah, yeah, good. I mean, I can't imagine anyone not enjoying it. To be fair. Cool. Is that the last game you played, Darren?
Yeah, from the ones worth talking about.
All right, mate. Okay. Well, we've talked about a few already, haven't we? That I've played. So I'm not going to mention Dying Light again because it's Dying Light. Fine. Just quickly going to mention we did Forza Thursday again, Forza Horizon, which was really, really good. Had a really good time on that again. So people are always welcome to join us every Thursday at 8:30 onwards. Clarky79 joined us this week. So it was me, Laffer, Captain Venom, and Clarky. And Clarky really enjoyed it actually, because we do the weeklies, you see, to get all the extra cars and stuff, and it just gives you a variety of game modes to play, which makes it a lot more fun, which was really, really good. A big shout out to Clarky at the moment, actually, as well. He's had because we've had a couple of storms batter the UK over the last few days. He's actually had his power's been out since Friday.
Oh,
It's still not on. So yeah, big shout out to Clarky when you eventually get your internet back, power and internet back, and can listen to this. I hope all is well. And fuck me,
that's a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, because Thursday night when we were doing Forza Thursday, obviously the storm was quite bad, and I had 2 power cuts that evening while we were playing. But the power cuts only lasted about 5 minutes each, and I was screwing with, just for those 5 minutes. Like, come on, I want me in there. That's the only thing. I didn't give a fuck about the lights. I was like, I just want to get back on my game.
Stop the heating and the hot water.
Yeah.
Not been able to boil the kettle or anything.
Yeah.
Where's my internet?
Yeah. So yeah, big shout out to Clarky, and I do feel for you, man. Good. So yeah, I've not really been playing a lot of too much else, as you can imagine. But the one thing I do want to mention is I have introduced my son to Minecraft, which probably wasn't a great idea, to be honest. Because he's now absolutely hooked on it. But the cool thing,
I think it's good for. It's like Lego, like when kids, you know what I mean, like just building all these crazy things. Like it should be good for them, really.
yeah, but the cool thing about Minecraft, is you can play it split screen co-op. So me and my boy have spent so many hours this week just playing it split screen co-op on the Xbox downstairs, just sitting there, just building we've been building a house together. Well, I've been building it and he's been destroying it, to be fair. But he's only 4, but he just really enjoys it. I mean, I'm playing it on creative mode, so you can fly around and you got all the bits and pieces. And I remember when Minecraft came out, and I really liked it then, but I didn't really play it loads. I mean, I remember playing it on the Xbox 360, right? And I remember you could launch your server, but it's not like now where you can actually have a server for people just to jump on even when you're not on it. I remember on the 360, I left my Xbox on just all night for nights on end, just so people could join and do stuff in the 360G server world, which was just my Xbox I'd left on, and people
I remember
trapped
didn't
me.
Clarky or someone literally seal you in Onyx or something.
Yeah, they
Like there's a
trapped
metal
me.
that you need a special pickaxe to break, and they
Yeah.
like sealed you up in it.
Yeah. So there's some good memories on that. So, but the cool thing about Minecraft is, excuse me, it's so it's so open ended, right? And there's a reason why it stayed so popular for so long. It's just your imagination. Just let it run wild, and it's just really nice to have a game to play with my boy in co-op. We can just explore and build things and destroy things like on creative mode. I've been setting up. I've been laying down like 100 bits of dynamite and blowing them all up at the same time. And he's gone, wow! Look at that big hole in the ground. And oh, Daddy, your house is so cool. Let's help. Can I help you build the roof? And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun, really. And it's just trying to just watching his imagination run wild. Really, just what he's with the little ideas he's coming up with for things to build or destroy or whatever, which has been quite cool, really. So yeah, it's a really cool game, to be fair, to play with your children. So I highly recommend it. But he is addicted to it. I've installed it on the laptop as well, so I can actually have my TV back sometimes, and he can play on that. So that has been a lot of fun.
There is a problem with that though, and I experienced it. I introduced my son to Minecraft.
Yeah.
He now shows me how to play the game.
And that's cool though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. No. The thing is, I introduced my little girl to it, who plays it on her Switch and the Xbox.
Yeah.
And even now, I look at her worlds and I go, "How the hell did you build that?"
That's awesome, isn't it?
And they're like,
There's people used to do all sorts, and they like building. I remember someone built like the King's Landing from Game of Thrones in Minecraft.
That's mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a mad game. It's great for kids, right? Because they can learn so much just with their imagination, right? Just build all these crazy things, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, my kids don't like me going in their worlds because what I do is my first thing is I get the TNT out. And I know I don't blow their stuff up, but I find a mine somewhere and I literally just dig as far deep down as I can and blow the biggest hole in their map up. Literally to a point where it just the game can't keep up with the amount of sprites and stuff that are on the telly. And it literally it almost crashes the game. I put like 1,000 blocks of TNT down underground and just spark it and run off.
Brilliant. I remember when I think it was like one of the first weeks that it came out, or it might have even been the first day. There was a load of us playing. I think we all jumped into Colin's world, Collie Wally.
Yeah.
And he just sat there for 10 minutes going, "What is this game? What are we doing?" And like he was completely bewildered. And Dan and I think a few of the others had like mined all the way down to the bedrock.
Yeah.
In one of the areas because you eventually hit like where you just can't go down any further. And we was mining away, and everyone had gone down there. And I was trying to work my way back up to the surface because I was bored just being down in the mine. And I've dug underneath a fucking pond, didn't I?
You just flooded it all.
And the pond has started to come down and flood the thing. And I'm like literally shouting out, "You need to block the hole. You need to block the hole because the water's coming down."
Oh, brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, so I've been having a lot of fun on that. It's just really nice to rediscover the game again, to be honest. Yeah, because I know it's obviously quite old now, but there's kind of limitless possibilities with Minecraft. So it's a fantastic game. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. And on the Minecraft theme, we've been playing some of the Minecraft dungeons as well. But this game's a bit weird, to be honest. Like, I mean, it's fun because it's like one of those kind of isometric. It's a bit like Diablo, but in the Minecraft kind of art style, right? But it's made to fucking grind, and I don't like that, especially with kids, because it's like your characters level up so slow, right? You have to you have to redo the levels like 4 or 5 times just to get up to a decent level to progress onto the next level, which I think's a bit shitty, to be honest, because my boy's been like, "Oh, Daddy, we've already done this level," and I'm trying to explain to him, "Look, we need to do it again so we can level up enough so we can do the next level." Yeah, which is annoying, and the game is full of microtransactions as well. Absolutely full of it. They've got this store, they've got like the season pass, and I'm like, are they just trying to hook kids in early with all this bollocks in this game? I mean, it's just, I don't like that. I mean, I would like it if you could
Yeah,
just,
they had like character packs and stuff, didn't they?
yeah.
And like outfits and stuff.
Well, it's the same in normal Minecraft as well. When you load it up onto the main menu now, you're just bombarded with all these DLC packs and all these skins. That's where they've been making their money, right? They've probably made billions from all this bullshit.
Well,
But
didn't I can't remember? Didn't like the guy who made it not or whatever? Didn't he like cash out with like a couple of billion in his back pocket? From the
yeah,
sale of that?
Microsoft have more than made that back easy now, haven't they? So,
Well, it's on all platforms as well,
of
isn't
course,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, because
it's available to everyone.
Because when it first came out as well, it was like £3.79 on the Xbox store, and as soon as Xbox bought them, it went up to 15 quid.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think 15 quid's a fair price still.
yeah,
Really.
yeah,
But then,
100%.
So you got the DLC and the skin packs and stuff. But on a game on Minecraft Dungeons, though, I think it's a bit shady, because on that sort of game, I would expect at the very least just to be able to go through all the levels to the end of the game without having to buy stuff or redo the levels so many fucking times just to level up your dude, because it just makes it a little bit boring, to be honest. So yeah, that's just my frustration with it, but we're still having some fun with it, to be honest, because it's just nice to be able to play a co-op game like Diablo, but my kid can play, you know what I mean? So yeah, so we've been enjoying that. So that's been a lot of fun this week, to be honest. I've been, just enjoying playing games with him. I mean, and you can tell that that I've been looking after the kids and not my wife with the amount of games we've been playing. Because another game that he's been playing, but I've been helping him with, is on Game Pass. It's called Rain on Your Parade. I don't know if you guys have
Never heard of
this.
that. No.
It's absolutely brilliant. So it's been out a little while, actually, about 6 months or so, and I was really excited for it when it came out, and I never finished it, but my boy's got his own profile on the Xbox, so he's been playing it on that, and he actually, with my help, completed it this week, and then we just finished it on my profile today. But you're basically a cloud, and it's all done in like cardboard, cartoony art style. And you get these missions like you go into this level and it's like rain on all the people, just to annoy them. And then as you progress through the game, you get more cloud skills, like you can use lightning and you have a whirlwind, snow as well. But it puts you in all these crazy levels, like in a school, and you've got to like blow up a volcano, blow up the test tubes, rain on all the kids. There's like a wedding, rain on all the people in the wedding, but it's done like a lot of the game is done tongue in cheek, like it really riffs off old games like Frogger. So one of the main characters in the game is Frogger, but he's not actually called Frogger, but it references the game pretty a lot. And it talks about going across the road and stuff like that, and you help them out a lot. There's like levels that are themed on other games, like there's a Metal Gear Solid level, but you got to sneak through the level without the guards seeing you, and it has the music as well, which is pretty cool. And there's other games that are riffed on quite heavily as well, like Resident Evil and a few other games as well, which is really, really cool.
More references kids wouldn't get.
Yeah, but like I'm like playing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is hilarious, and like. It just takes the piss out of gaming culture as well. Like when you complete the game, like it comes with this thing saying, and the gamer sits back, happy that he's completed the game, and he's now awaiting the re-release of the exact same game on the next gen console. You know what I mean? Just little things like that just made like really funny. But yeah, the game is quite long. There's a lot of different levels, to be honest, and they're all really really well done. It's on Game Pass, so if you've got Game Pass, you know, check it out, man. It's just a lot of fun. Like, you know, there's just really silly situations like grow crops, or you can get like acid rain. So you got to destroy, like, there's a level with a farm that's on stream in a minute where you get the acid rain and you got to destroy the crops and make all the vehicles all rusty. You know, just got to be a dick sometimes. It's just really funny. So yeah, it's a really good game if you want to have a laugh, to be honest. Yeah, so and the last game that I have been playing, obviously, Lost Ark. I'm absolutely loving this game. Right?
What level are you on it?
I'm level 45 now. I'm not even max
So it's
level yet.
50's cap, isn't it?
50 is the cap. But like for a game that's free, right? When I bought the founder pack, which was £8, there's so much content. Like, if you're a fan of Diablo, this is like Diablo on steroids. There's so much content. Like, I'm blown away. Like, the game just gets better and better. I've put 40 hours into it now. And I've not even scratched the surface, to be honest. Like, it starts off as like a Diablo-esque game. Like, I mean, the character class I've gone for is like this gunner dude. It's called a Deadeye. So got 3 different weapons, dual pistols, a shotgun, and a rifle.
Oh yes, because you pick a class and then you pick a specialisation, don't you?
Yeah, that's correct. This game is so deep. It really, really is. You know, you start off in a little town and you're doing your little quests, but it's just so much to it. Like you can tell it's an MMO, right? Because you see all the other people running around and you know, and I've done a lot of 4-player dungeons now, and they've all been absolutely brilliant. But you can play it as a single player game because you can just run all the dungeons on your own if you want. It gives you that option, and it just levels the difficulty depending on how many players are in the dungeon with you, which is really cool. But you do feel like an absolute badass when you're playing this game. But as I say, there's so much to it though. Like at the beginning, you know, you're running around. You can have a pet that gives you certain buffs, and then you get a little mount like a horse. And I got a Twitch drop where I have a hoverboard, but it doesn't really match the game, to be honest, because it's kind of like old worldy. So I've gone back to my horse, but I've got a new one with armor now. But it's like, it's very Diablo, but very MMO, as I say, with the level, with the dungeons, right? But there's a lot of content to this game. Like, there's characters, there's loads of characters that you can romance in the game, so you have to keep on going back to them and giving them presents, and they give you little missions and stuff, which is really cool. And the story itself is absolutely fucking brilliant, man. Like, I mean, the only MMO that I can compare to it with a good story is Final Fantasy 14, to be quite honest with you. But I'm absolutely loving it. But the game later on opens up, like, because the world is massive. Like, I've explored so much. Like, I've been on one continent, right? This is how big the game is. There's continents on it, right? And that one continent that I explored with all the zones in it was just absolutely fucking huge. And I've got to a point in the game now where I've got my own settlement. So I've got my own island, and you can do it up. You have your own buildings and stuff. You can create your own potions and your own weapons and stuff like that. There's so much on that. But later on in the game, it opens up where you get your own pirate ship. So there's a lot of pirates in this game. Yeah. And your pirate ship is fully customizable, like with what it looks like. Like, this is where they make money, right? You can buy different ship skins and all that sort of bollocks as well to make it look even better. And then when you're sailing around, so you get into your pirate ship, and then you physically sail the seas yourself, like still in that same isometric view, to the different continents. But there's loads of little islands scattered around as well with little missions on. but you can see other players sailing their ships around the sea as well, which is really, really cool. So the world does feel alive. So that's where the skins come in. Like, as you can see, if people bought other skins and stuff for their pirate ships, which is really, really cool. So the world is massive. So I've only just made it to the second continent now. So like, you've got to find these 7 arcs, and I've got 3 of them so far. So I've got a few left to get, but to get, like, it takes forever just to get the next one. And apparently the end game gets even better, which I've not even got to at all. I'm just really enjoying the story.
With all the content and everything you're on about, like,
it's going to take me ages.
The game did take a while to hit the West, so it has been out for a few years, hasn't it?
2 years of content, yeah. So, I mean, at the moment, I'm absolutely loving the game. I think the world's really very well realized. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's just, as I say, there's just so much content there. To be honest, like, with all the different character classes, the different world, like, areas in the world, so many dungeons. And I have watched some videos on Twitch of people that have got to the end game doing the actual the dungeons where your classes actually matter with your healers and stuff, and it just looks absolutely insane. Because what I'm finding at the moment, unlike other MMOs, like, I'm running, like, the game is quite easy. Like, you can just blast through the dungeons, so you have your own potions, so you can just heal yourself. So I've not at, like, in other MMOs, like, you have a specific healer who heals you. In this, all I've experienced is, my health's gone down, I'll just drink a potion to get my health back up. Apparently, in the end game, your character classes do actually matter in regards to healers and tanks and stuff like that. But I'm yet to get to that. But I have been told, like, when you complete the game, get to level 50 or whatever, it does allow you to create another 2 characters at max level. So you can have another couple of character classes at max level that you can use, which is quite cool, I think. So but yeah, like, this game, I'm absolutely hooked on it. It's just really interesting to be playing an MMO in that kind of viewpoint, if that makes sense, in that kind of isometric view, because everything else, like WoW, Final Fantasy, and Black Desert, whatever else there is, it's like kind of behind the character view, right? None of them are done like this, and it just works so well. It just looks gorgeous and plays just so well, because, like, the combat is so fast and fluid, and you just really do feel like a badass when you start chaining your combos together, like with my class, switching between the weapons really fast and using all the different abilities. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely a highlight for me this year, because it's kind of come out of nowhere for me, and it's been a really good, pleasant surprise. I'm absolutely loving Lost Ark at the moment. And that's all I'm going to say on it, because I'm probably going to be talking about it for the rest of the year, to be honest. I'm absolutely loving it. So that's all my games played. I'm just going to pop into the news. There's only been 2 bits of news that I want to talk about. Obviously, one we've talked about, actually, is the Cyberpunk update on consoles. So that's obviously happened, and we talked about that already. So I'm going to move on to my last thing that I picked up this week. It made me chuckle. I saw a statement from EA come out saying that they blame Battlefield 2042's poor performance on Halo Infinite coming out the week before free to play. They're saying, because Halo come out free to play, it slumped our sales. And it's just like, what planet are they living on if they think that that's the reason their game has flopped? It just screams insanity to me. It really does. So, fix your fucking game. I think even now, even if they fixed it and it ran 100% perfect, I think they've just lost so much goodwill of gamers. I just don't think it's ever going to become a game that's that's busy again. I really don't. So it's just unfortunate, really. But they just need to fucking bring the games out that work on launch day, and not fuck over their customers. Have any of you guys got any news? Because like that is literally all I could find today.
There was the news about Nintendo shutting down the Wii U and 3DS shops, which means a ton of like downloadable only games are going to be completely lost in time.
Oh, that sucks. The people that
And
have
it
obviously
also
have already
means that-
downloaded them will be able to play them, but no one will be able to download
Yeah, I
them in
mean
the
that
future.
it's like
Yeah,
all the extra DLC for games and extra modes and things like that.
yeah, that is a shame. Yeah,
Yeah, but
And again,
sorry, to be fair, that isn't until March 2023, though.
also it's a year away, or I suppose,
Yeah.
still to get for people to get used to it. But yeah.
okay. I mean, it's not really a surprise, though, right? I mean, it happens. A big part of me thinks that they'll probably just re-release it all on the Switch anyway. It's what Nintendo are good at doing. But yeah, I think.
No, they're not good at doing that at all.
Well, with some stuff they are. I mean, they've
They'll make a poor re-release on the Switch, stick another 30 quid on top of it, and then go, yay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I'm not being funny. I tried to set up a party on a Switch earlier for my little girl and my niece.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that didn't work out. I ended up just saying, why don't you just go and play on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Parties are so much easier to set up on an Xbox.
You can't even do a party chat on the Switch, can you? You have to use your phone. Oh, yeah. Because when we did our old Mario Kart nights, we just used to all use Discord.
Yep.
And the voice quality would be shit because we're all on our phones on loudspeaker and you could hear everything. Oh, good old times. Okay, any other news before we move on to the couple of questions we've had?
I've not got nothing.
All right, sweet. So I'm just
There
not
was
really. Go on.
news about like Final Fantasy 14 briefly.
Oh
They
yeah.
talked about sort of like what they were going to be doing with the game going forward, etc.
Okay.
And yeah, they've got like I think they've got like another 8 to 10 year plan
Wow. That's
for the
crazy.
game. Also, they're updating the graphics. Before the next expansion launches, they're going to give the game a graphical overhaul and refine a lot of the character models and stuff.
So does that mean that because I did see a video that they're upgrading the graphics. I mean, I think the
It's
graphics
not
look
like
great
major. Yeah, they
Right.
look good. They're just improving the shadows on the
Right.
character
So
models
is
and the
this
lighting and stuff in areas and things, because they have technically kind of upgraded the graphics for the latest expansion compared
right.
to obviously like the original Realm Reborn.
Yeah. So I mean,
Like
it's
when you
certainly
go into
improved,
some of
but
those dungeons and stuff, you'll see they've got like much better lighting and things like
right.
that. Even though it's still quite hard to notice any difference, which is what you want, because at the end of the day, the world's connected.
Yeah, but so it's still going to be working. I mean, there's no that because obviously the game was originally on the PS3 and PC, and then they stopped it on the PS3. They haven't mentioned when it'll go PS5 only or anything. No.
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like a nice upgrade actually. Um,
I mean, technically,
and the
again, thinking possible rumour this. I don't know whether to get people's hopes up or not, but they did talk about actually getting this game on Xbox at some point, and that would make the most sense, I'm guessing, with the start of a brand new story.
yeah, that would be good. I don't know how popular it would
And
be
it
on
would
it
also give their
on
player
Xbox
numbers a
now. I
big
mean,
boost.
yeah,
I think it'd be pretty popular. I mean, there's been rumours about like, oh, they're going to release World of Warcraft on Xbox. kind of thing, or they want to put World of Warcraft on Xbox, and it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like it is quite a dated game.
Yeah, it is. But
And
yeah,
I think we've learned by the whole launching Rust on console that games like that they're PC games. Stick with PCs.
100%. But I also saw that you could play Final Fantasy 14 completely solo now because they've added the trust system, which for those who don't know is
Yes,
it brings AI people into all the dungeons, right?
Yeah, but you can only do that currently from Shadowbringers onwards. But they did talk about them actually adding the trust system to every dungeon in the entire game.
Yeah, and I do think that's needed because like my wife, when she rarely plays, right, and she's way far behind, be queuing up for hours just to get into one of the older dungeons, and it just ruins the experience a little bit, to be honest, when you're waiting for hours and hours just to fucking do a dungeon for the main story, to be honest. So yeah, it's something that they need to do. Cool, shall I get into the couple of questions then?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm flagging now. I want to go to bed. Frosty says, what game do you most watch on Twitch and who do you watch? I think this is more aimed at Macca because I don't watch anyone on Twitch, to be honest.
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know what? There's no really set game I watch on Twitch. I watch Nick. I watch Cybernator. I watch a few other smaller streamers. I don't generally watch partnered streamers.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, I'm kind of I'm there for the streamer, not the game.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, but to sort of flip that on its head, to look at the games that I've got saved on my Twitch account, every Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Gran Turismo Sport, Counter-Strike, Destiny, F1, Forza Horizon, Escape from Tarkov, yeah, pretty much Street Fighter, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 3, Tekken, yeah, just basically just the games that I play on a regular basis, or I'm interested. That's pretty much it, really.
See, I don't watch anyone on Twitch, but this week they were doing the Lost Ark drops, the Twitch drops, and I wanted them all. So I had to have Twitch on in the background. Usually for the drops, I like put it on, and what they were doing for Lost Ark was you have to watch them for 4 hours to get your drop. I was like, oh, fuck here now. So I just had it on a browser.
I'm not a fan of the Twitch drop stuff, to be honest.
I don't like that.
It's withholding content from players unless they're like doing the Twitch stuff.
Well, they do it for Sea of Thieves,
Amazon and stuff, don't they?
They do it for Sea of Thieves all the time. Like my missus has got Twitch on nearly every day for these fucking Sea of Thieves drops. But anyway, I was going to say, one of the big streamers for Lost Ark at the minute is Asmin Gold, and he's mega popular.
Yeah, he's an old WoW streamer. He's one of the people that boosted the player numbers for Final Fantasy 14 because he jumped from WoW. Yeah.
But he I look, and he gets like over 200,000 people easy. And I thought I'm going to watch him for a little bit, and within 5 minutes, I was thinking to myself, why does he have hundreds of thousands of viewers? Like, he's not. All he does is swear all the time, and just moan about it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Darren could have hundreds of thousands of viewers. Come on, man! Like the amount he swore and bitched about things, it did remind me of you a little bit, Darren. But to be fair, I was just like I was just sitting there thinking, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
You can't really judge a streamer off of like 5 to 10 minutes of stuff. It's like, even when I watch some of his videos on YouTube, like at first he came across as like quite a cocky, brash kind of a guy, but the more you watch his stuff, he's just a general guy down to earth, and he's just doing the usual trying to entertain your audience, basically. Being a bit of a showman, because that's the fucking point. You're there to entertain people. If you're not entertaining people, why are you there?
Yeah.
Like, but which is also why you get people like him that'll actually do streams, whereas you'll get other people that literally will load up a stream and then they'll just have some fucking video on and then they'll walk away from the computer for like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a massive fan of those Twitch drops, and coming from a streamer's point of view, this. I think it kills I think it kills the platform for a week or for however long they are, because you got to think that this is, people don't rely. A lot of people rely on this as a living, but a lot of people rely on it as a hobby. And the whole point of a platform is you've got to have numbers on both sides, streamers and viewers.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is when you start loading up people like him, who, to be honest, sits on 200,000 people anyway, and have these drops, it takes away from the smaller streamers. I'm not talking about me, I'm too small, but I mean, your medium-sized streamers, the people that are only sitting on like 60, 70 people that are gunning for that partnership, it takes it away from them, because everyone's sitting in this guy's stream who's already got 200,000 people.
Yeah, because I only give the drops to the big people. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes viewership away from those medium streamers that are trying to make a career out of it, that are literally on the borderline of making partner. Because when you hit partner, you kind of do take off, because it opens the doors to a lot of things.
Right.
You get promoted and pushed.
Yeah, you get promoted, you get pushed. It opens the door to sponsorships with companies and things like that. So, it takes it away from those people. And let's be honest, the guy sitting on 200, I'm just using him as an example because you brought him up. Yeah. 200,000 people he was sitting on the other night, because he comes up on my recommended channel.
Yeah.
200,000 people. He doesn't even interact with 1% of them, 1% of those people.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to, like, if you've seen how quickly the chat moves on those streams, like, you can't really keep up. You pretty much need moderators.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, a lot of partners, like Ninja, for example, Ninja never used to. He doesn't actually acknowledge anyone in his chat. Same with Nick Merckx. They will acknowledge when people resub, because that's essentially paying their wage.
Super chat or whatever. Yeah,
but if you look, 99% of the time, Ninja probably doesn't even look at his chat, or he never used to. Yeah. Oh. I mean, he's not as popular. They expect people to turn up because they're good at the game.
Yeah.
And I don't like the drop system, because all it does is it takes it away from some viewership from some streamers that need it more than those guys. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah. But you're right about the entertainment factor, right? Because I think that's why Dr. Disrespect was. I'm guessing he's still popular now. Like, when I've watched, because I did watch him from time to time, just out of interest, and I genuinely found him entertaining because he's just so outlandish.
He's a showman.
Silly outfit.
Yeah, showman, yeah.
And I can see why he was so popular, but like this Asmongold Gold bloke, I was just like, I mean, it's just my personal preference at the end of the day, right? I just couldn't get why he has so many subscribers of people watching. I just didn't get it, to be honest.
It's years and years of being like one of the top streamers on like the world's most popular MMA.
Yeah, that's the thing is with Twitch, right? If you got on it at an early stage back in 2015, 14, and you got on it and you got popular, then you were just gonna grow.
Yeah,
growing now is too difficult, because the streamer count outweighs the viewership count.
Yeah.
And while that always outweighs that, you're never gonna have that balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And it's kind of why Mixer died, because there was 99% streamers, 1% viewers, and that's why that platform died.
Yeah. Mixer was doomed from the start, to be honest. I think YouTube is quite popular still, though, isn't it? The YouTube streaming portion of that.
A lot of people upload their Twitch stuff to YouTube afterwards.
Yeah, but it's got a gaming streaming section as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's very difficult.
Because that's what Dr. D is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very difficult, because it's, when you've got someone like him, he's probably got a stream manager who does it for him. But, for someone like me, you've got to basically create a video. Do you know what I mean? with Twitch, it's my stream keys in OBS.
Yeah.
I press start streaming. I'm live. But in YouTube, you have to create a lot of stuff before you actually go live. It's it's
a pain in the
it's a little bit arse to front sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I know, like, just people, not necessarily like game streaming, but people who do like live podcasts through like YouTube streaming. That they always talk about horrible things they have with like Stream Deck and other such programs and that they use, and OBS gets mentioned a lot as well.
Yeah,
like with issues and stuff.
Yeah, where Twitch, my Stream Deck works perfect with OBS. OBS works perfectly with Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm using now as OBS. So
exactly, it's a simple format, and I think until any other streaming platforms get the simple effectiveness that Twitch has got for people, I don't think there's going to be anyone that's going to rival it, to be honest. But going back to the answer question, there's no specific streamer I watch or game. It's just
that's fair.
Sorry, there's no specific game I watch. It's mainly to do with the streamer. I kind of try to. Yeah.
What about you, Darren? Do you watch anyone or?
I don't really watch a lot of Twitch. I watch like the occasional people on YouTube. It's usually a multitude of games. Recently, I've been watching obviously a lot of people's sort of like reactions to the Final Fantasy XIV expansion story.
Yeah.
With like all the revelations and stuff that go on in that.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Okay, I just said anything else on. D Twin asks, do you think Elden Ring will get 10 out of 10 review scores? Mate,
I'm sure a couple of places will give it a 10 out of 10, but I think it's going to be like mainly 8s and 9s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say
it all depends on the reviewer.
Yeah, I think
it's too hard.
Sorry, Darren.
No, it's all right. Sorry, I'm always butting on people, so don't worry about it.
No, I was just going to say, I think you're right. I think it will get an average of about 8 or 9. I don't think it will get 10. I don't think games get 10s these days, do they? Let's be honest.
Not really.
I don't know. A few do. Like
on the rare occasion, it's very rare. I would say.
I can't remember. There was like some game that they people were moaning about the other day that IGN reviewed or something. And people were saying, like, how can this review worse than Battlefield? I can't remember what it was.
All right. I'm going to go on to D-Twin's other question. He says, with World War III likely kicking off in the next week or so, how much of an impact do you think this will have on the games industry?
Depends where the bomb lands.
I would imagine the Russian gaming industry is probably going to go to pot, and I would imagine that no PlayStation 5s or Xbox Series X's are going to be sold in Russia.
Yeah, there's in the Ukraine. What game was it that they reckon could be cancelled? Stalker 2, yeah, because that's been made out there, isn't it?
There are some really good Eastern European developers.
There is some fantastic ones, yeah.
Saying that, Escape from Tarkov is Russian, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
All right, so we might not be able to play Escape from Tarkov for much longer, but
I mean, fingers crossed that we all now live in some sort of world that's actually more civilized to get involved in another meaningless fucking conflict.
Well, I don't understand. I don't get it. I mean, I don't really want to go into it on a gaming podcast anyway, to be fair. But yeah, it baffles the mind. That's what
hopefully you'll be fine. There's been rumours of all this sort of shit before.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, hell, in the 80s, it was all of the Cold War and all that sort of stuff, and then before that, it was like the Cuban Missile Crisis and.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think it's going to affect it because the governments are going to want to distract us with something. So if anything, games are going to come out quicker and sooner.
The Olympics is just finished, so.
Yeah. All the stuff going on in Canada at the minute as well, which is crazy. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I wondered why Black Hitler was trending this morning.
Yeah,
and then I clicked on the hashtag and it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Not a popular man, I see recently.
He needs fucking ripping out of office completely.
There's a few
Anyway.
politicians that need the boot out of office. Fucking hell.
Oh, fucking hell. Again, I don't want to get into politics on a gaming podcast, but fuck me, that guy's a knob. Taken out.
Yep.
Not literally taken out, just taken out of office before someone.
Yeah, removed from power.
Yes. Okay, last question then from Mark Singh. He says, can you see the latest consoles getting a mid-gen upgrade like the previous consoles with like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox Series, the Xbox One X? You see it happening?
Probably. Mind you, didn't they say, isn't the Series X kind of expandable?
Well, only with storage, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember. I know there was one of the consoles that they were talked about that they did actually say that it could actually be expandable with.
No, I think they were talking about it, but it never transpired. I think it's just the memory now, the storage. That's it. I mean, you can add an M2 memory card into a PS5, and you've got the expandable cards for the Xboxes, which, to be honest, are an absolute rip-off at the moment.
Well, they're the same sort of price as what you'd pay for one of these SSDs for the PS5. To be honest, I think they're about both the same sort of time. You're looking at around 400 quid for a 2 terabyte.
Yeah, 394 quid for a 2 terabyte on the Xbox.
And then you see the size of the actual card itself, and you're like,
yeah. And you just think to yourself, wouldn't you just put that in there from the start?
Well, then the consoles would be like 800 quid, wouldn't they? So, they're just trying to cost cut.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
I personally, I don't think it's going to happen this year. If you're going to get them, I think we're going to get them closer to 2024.
Yeah, it'll be a few years away. Yeah.
Just purely because at this point in time, they're still having supply issues, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So, could you imagine, I can't even get hold of a PS5, and they've just announced the PS5 Pro Plus Plus or something?
Well, he didn't say this year, but do you reckon it will happen?
It will happen. 100%.
If it happened in the previous gen, I think it's probably going to be one of these things that are probably going to happen going forward now.
Yeah, 100%.
But then again, Xbox may not, because they've always talked about you can just use the cloud to get the extra memory and stuff out of it, haven't they? So you could technically, using the cloud, play up sampled versions of games on your original Xbox, as long as you've got a decent internet, which is fucking almost impossible these days.
I mean, I kind of think it's depending on the router situation, because I mean the PlayStation 5 looks like a big Wi-Fi router, so depending on what Wi-Fi routers come out next, depending if they change the shape, really, don't they? I mean, let's be honest, the Xboxes look like a stove and a fridge, so it all depends.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, but I do think that there will be as well at some point. Give it extra ray tracing, all this other stuff. Be like, oh fucking hell, might as well start
we can get the ray tracing with the 60.
I wonder if they'll do the same with the old gen though, like they did with the old gen, like the PlayStation 4. I went and got a PlayStation 4, then I upgraded to a PS4 Pro, and my PS4 Pro sounded like an aircraft taking off.
Yeah, same.
But the standard PS4 didn't. So I wonder if they're going to do that again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. On that note, I need to go to bed. I'm flagging.
Yeah,
I'm struggling.
Yeah, I think it's me, lads. When I'm on, I do chat, don't I? I do chat a lot. So
I like it. It's just because obviously I don't feel too well this week.
They had the shortest games played section.
Yeah, I know, but I'm a salesman in my day job, so I do talk a lot of shit.
That's all good, man. Hopefully next week I'm a bit more awake, so I'll be a little bit more with it. I don't think it helps. I fell asleep before the podcast, so it's just kind of that groggy feeling. But thanks very much, guys, for coming on. It's been awesome as always. I look forward to hearing more about Horizon Forbidden West from you next week, Darren. That would be awesome. And Macca, hopefully you're on next week and you've played some King of Fighters.
Well, I've got Metro to play as well, so you might.
A lot of games.
Yeah, I've got a shitload of games to play. So.
Sweet. And obviously Elden Ring.
And only another 2 weeks until Gran Turismo 7 as well.
Yeah, good times indeed. So anyway, that's it from us here. So for me, Mark Webb, Gamertag, Piss on the D, Steam ID, Webby 360G.
Me, Big Macca, 83.
And Sensei Switch.
So thank you very much. If you want to listen to all of next week's show, you need to subscribe to the Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/360gamercast. From as little as £5 a month, you get a show every single week of the year. You can find us on Twitter at 360gamercast. We've got the Facebook group, Discord group, all that jazz. All the links will be in the show notes. So from all of us here, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.